What's going on there, guys? Good evening. It's the Earthmaster here on this Thursday night. September 8th is the date, 2022. It's about 8 p.m. West Coast time here in California. Latest quake is looks like a 2.7 earthquake there on the globe, down around the South America region right there. All right, so what do we got going on? Do we actually have a hurricane going to come in and hit the California region? Well, yes and no. By the time it gets here to California, it's definitely not going to be a hurricane. Current conditions there, 66 miles per hour, right? So definitely down to tropical storm status. It is going to be bringing in quite a bit of rainfall and some winds there to the Southern California region. And it's just kind of hovering off the coast right now, the Baja region. It is kind of extending up here. Some thunderstorms and whatnot into Southern California and into Arizona. This is Thursday, 8 p.m. right now. And as we kind of scoot this around 11 o'clock or so, you can see this starting to scoot up a little bit more. Here's about 9 a.m. Friday. Notice the main circulation here of Hurricane K, or it would just be Tropical Depression K, would kind of getting into the Southern California area right now with some wind gusts up there. Looks like within the area of about 50 miles per hour or so, stretching up into the area. Now 6 p.m. Tomorrow, you can see Southern California getting quite a bit of wind and some rain. They're expecting between 2 to 4 inches of rain in some areas of Southern California, so there's a major concern on the hazard of flash flooding out there, and more so around the burn scars where they've had past fires out there. A lot of wildfires recently and historically. It looks like the brunt of the system there is going to be late tomorrow, Saturday morning sometime, or early Saturday morning, about 4 a.m. Looking during the afternoon time, things are just kind of hovering off the coast here. I think Los Angeles will get some rainfall and some wind as well. But by then, this system's just kind of just dying away, dissipating out there into the cooler waters of the Pacific, and just completely kind of diminishes there after a while. But it does bring an unsettled weather pattern here to California, where we've been scorching like crazy. We've had 110 degree temperatures here for, about 5 days now. Been above 110, but far as being above 100, it's been like that all summer. I mean, people talk, wow, it's 100 degrees there today. Oh yeah, we get months of it here in Northern California. Here in the valley where I live, we get a lot of 100 degree temperatures. So cooler weather pattern setting up here along the west coast. Some of that tropical moisture is going to be extending up here into the Sierra Nevada, bringing with it a threat of thunderstorms and some flash flooding again down in Southern California, the brunt of the activity. And it should be pretty cool for those folks here. Current conditions right now, it is a tropical storm K. There is the current, current position right about here. Winds 55, gusts to 65 miles per hour. Movement at north-northwest at 12 miles an hour there. So we'll watch this closely and see. It is kind of, according to a couple of the weather forecasts here and models, it is still showing that northward trend, but also backing off a little bit on how far north it will stretch. There are some upper level winds here. You notice here, these are actually surface winds, but I think there's upper level patterns as well here in this vicinity that's going to be squashing this tropical system further down south. So it's not going to make it all the way up into Central California or Northern California like I would love to see it. The GFS model basically does about the same thing. You can see it just kind of extending there up a little bit into Southern California, although this one here kind of looks like it's a little bit closer to the Los Angeles area as far as the wind speeds go. So we'll watch this and see how it develops. You know, not too often do we get tropical storms or depressions here along the west coast of California. It doesn't happen all that often at all. I can't remember the last time I've seen that happen. But either way, for the folks down there in Southern California, be cautious. There is a lot of rain headed your way, and it's much needed. But also at the same time, we got to watch those fault systems, right? Lubrication of the faults, so to speak. All this rainfall is going to be falling on a whole bunch of fault systems out there. So I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to affect the faults for the most part in Southern California, not to mention the locked area of the San Andreas Fault, where enough pressure has been building up here over 300 years to produce an 8.1 magnitude earthquake here. What's it going to take to trigger that? You know, quite a few folks and scientists have said a lot of rainfall, get down there deep into the faults, and kind of lubricate it, and just enough to where it will release all that strain. So we're going to watch that pretty closely here after the system dumps a bunch of rain in the weeks and the months ahead, and see how long it may take to soak down there and possibly trigger that. All right, let's see. West Coast activity. They had an earthquake outside of Seattle, which was felt pretty broadly over the area. This was in the red, and for some reason they dropped it down back to the normal color when they put out a notification here. But it was felt broadly all over the place throughout Seattle, Tacoma, Oak Harbor area, Mount Vernon. A lot of folks there reported feeling that earthquake. Since then, it looks like we've seen a couple small aftershocks within the vicinity of this earthquake around the Puget Sound, a 2.3, the latest here, a little bit further south though. So overall, things have definitely been kind of on the uptick here, and if you notice the depths of these earthquakes, some of them down there about 31 kilometers below the surface, so some deeper movement going on below the region. Northern California, one earthquake out here along the close to the Cascadia megathrust area, 2.2 at 19 kilometers. That is somewhat closer to the Cascadia. Excuse me. Grab a drink real quick because my throat was starting to get a little dry. The heat, I'm telling you, it's not good for your system at all. Nevada, seen a little bit of seismic increase in pressure here throughout the area. You can see this listed here on the map. It's a pretty broad area, and not for sure exactly what's going on, but we're noticing a little trend of movement around Lake Tahoe area, northward through Truckee and out into the Nevada desert. I think regional pressure here definitely on the increase far as the activity goes. The Long Valley supervolcano here showing some activity as well today. It's in the area that's seen a swarm of movement, a month or so ago. So let's go ahead and check out the Long Valley caldera from the USGS Volcanoes website. USGS, Science for a Changing World. That's their motto. All right, here's the Long Valley caldera, which still sits as a green. It is a supervolcano. They're in Southern California. Not quite as big as Yellowstone. And the swarming activity is occurring roughly within this area. So we're going to check out this seismograph station, maybe. That one doesn't want to work. Let's try this other one. That one does work. And here's the latest map. Doesn't look like a lot, because I remember checking this here when we were having that pretty good swarm, and there was a pretty good event of earthquake activity. But for now, it looks like some much earlier this morning and late last night. As far as right now goes, I'm not seeing anything. So this activity, much older movement or much more smaller, and it's just not being picked up within the vicinity of those seismographs. Ridgecrest area, pretty quiet, only a couple spotty earthquakes. In Southern Cal, look at this. This is very quiet in the region, even for these small little microquakes. Not a whole lot going on. Again, flash flooding potential. How far north and east it's going to stretch here? I think it will reach down here into this area. So we'll see how this plays out. Yellowstone National Park, some activity earlier as well. USGS listing that on the map. About 10 earthquakes here. Checking out the Yellowstone seismograph overview here. Still showing some activity earlier this morning and throughout the day. Again, I believe these were thunderstorms that kicked up here earlier. A lot of times the wind, the rain, the thunder, which I love, can be a outside interference here across the park. And we've seen that for a couple hours. We checked out the update this morning when we were looking at this weird signal. And sure enough, there was some thunderstorms over the area. Right now, Let's see. There's not a whole lot going on, right? So let's go ahead and double check the Windy app and see what we got up there. I don't think they have all-day thunderstorms. If they do, I'm going to be moving to Yellowstone. That'd be awesome. Winds have dropped off dramatically within the vicinity of Yellowstone. Earlier, there was some 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I think maybe even 50 at one point. Far as thunderstorms go, they have. It looks like they've moved over here to the east much further. There is still some. It looks like hanging around. Although this kind of looks like it may be some older activity, not as bright here on the map, which would indicate some newer movement. So that's moving out. Things are mellowing out on the graphs, and they just kind of that's what it does. Sometimes we see these odd readings on the map, and they're outside interference. Nothing to do with what's going on, or if there's anything going on underneath Yellowstone. Not a whole lot throughout Oklahoma or the New Madrid zone today. A couple earthquakes out in the Puerto Rico area, mostly around the southwestern edge of the area, kind of down in there into the Mirotos Trough. Got the Puerto Rico Trench up here, so a little bit of squeezing going on. A lot of dynamics there in the pressure gradients of the whole Caribbean plate. 5.4 in the Peru area earlier this afternoon. 49 kilometers since then. Just a couple small earthquakes here in the Chile area. I can say the brunt of the activity today has been into the Tonga region, Fiji Islands, and the Kermadec Trench, all seeing a little bit of uptick today in the 4 and 5 range. Also throughout the Java Trench area, we did see a 5.1, 10 kilometers there deep for that earthquake. And some movement also kicking up into the Aleutian Trench today. A couple 2s and some 1s further back west. Not a whole lot going on. One earthquake, though, in the Greece area. They keep having these 4s and 5s. Pretty much within that same area. But this is a very seismically active zone. They do get some large quakes, and they do get quite a few swarms, such as those 4s and 5s. Overnight, we did have some earthquake activity up into the Iceland region, kind of near the Denmark Strait. But on this plate boundary, this area here is a divergent boundary, meaning separation here of the sea floor, so to speak. 5.2, 4.6, and a 4.6. Again, this was from overnight last night, still showing up here on the map. Since then, though, we haven't seen any further activity throughout the map at all. Fire activity has been kind of, we'll get to the trimmer map here in just a minute, and also solar weather. I do kind of want to cover activity around Northern California, where we got this major fire cooking up there in the forest above Sacramento, above Auburn. Looks like it's in between Interstate 80 and Interstate 50 here. Both of these lead to the Lake Tahoe area. 50 leads to South Lake Tahoe, 80 up through Truckee. But right in between there are some heavily forested areas, and somehow a fire started out there again. 13,000 acres. This thing was producing a massive pyrocumulus cloud earlier. Let's see if they have anything listed. It doesn't look like it. Sometimes they do show these huge clouds that are built up. But yeah, this thing is a pretty big fire. There's a lot of timber to burn up there, unfortunately. 13,000 acres at 0% contained. And again, I honestly don't know what caused these fires. I don't know what causes any of these fires. You know, it's just, you have so many of them, you start to wonder what's going on. What's going on behind that black curtain? You just don't know. You know, no lightning strikes up there. No volcanoes going off. You know, and just out in the middle of nowhere. Yes, there is some forested roads out there. Some back roads, so to speak. But, man, pretty big fire. Again, that's kind of just northeast, kind of east-northeast of Sacramento, a good distance, but up into the Sierra Nevada. And that one's going to be a big one. Also, a couple new ones up through Northern California, it looks like. And, you know, a bunch of big ones in Southern California. Hopefully that rain will put some of these fires out. Got a big one down here, a Fairview fire. Looks like over 23,000 acres right now, 5% contained. And, you know, pretty big deal. There's a pyrocumulus cloud from that, from this fire although it's being blocked, it doesn't look like the sun is able to illuminate this pyrocumulus type cloud. But it is it is pretty cool to look at when it produces those clouds. That's for sure. Let's see here. Get back off of here real quick. And hopefully these will be put out here from this moisture that's coming in. Lucky for those folks, we don't have anything coming in here in Northern California. Our rainy season don't start until November, if we're lucky. November. The next couple months are going to be some of the hardest and hottest. Well, maybe not hottest. We should start cooling down, but some of the driest months, and we get the north winds kicking up here, and that's extreme fire hazard. Everything's dried out, has been dried out for years now. It's just a horrible situation that I'm surrounded in, and I'm trying to not drown in it out here, because it's just a little depressing, everything burning up. All right, what else do we have? Tremor map tonight. Let's go ahead and check this out along the Cascadia subduction zone. Got about 155 epicenters here underneath Oregon. Down there about 35, 45 kilometers. Down dip here into the Cascadia. And it's been pretty quiet. It's kind of odd. I mentioned about the quiet period here for a little while, and then all of a sudden we get epicenters. So when that happens, I like to check the previous days and see if anything's listed. I don't see anything. But then again, if you go to the month, it should show up here. I just don't see it. Looks like the last activity was back in it's a little on the odd side. Everything's all mixed up here. Back in the end of July. So it has been quiet for about a week or so now, and just finally starting to see some activity ramping up here today. $155 epicenters. All right, what else we got here for space weather events? Check out the solarham.net website here. And not a whole lot. We are kind of peaking out here at the KP index of 4 once again. The latest update here shows enhanced solar wind stream continues to persist headed into Friday. An isolated period of minor G1 geomagnetic storming is currently in the forecast. Visible aurora will be likely at higher latitudes once it's dark outside. So just kind of been some southward tilt, I believe. Notice this BZ separation here, indicating a southward point in the interplanetary magnetic field, which is generating and allowing some of that solar wind to flow right in. The conditions are not elevated at all, but when this happens, we do get that elevated KP index conditions there. And as you can see there on the graph, kind of currently ongoing. As far as coronal hole activity goes right now, there is one way up top. There's a couple smaller ones that maybe, I don't think they're going to be any geo-effective activity. Maybe 21, we'll have to see. But nothing likely as far as any major events go from the coronal holes. The flare threat remains minimal as well. Looking at the magnetic fields here, still shows about the same as this morning. Haven't really seen any major differences or growing in these sunspots. They're all just you're just kind of there. They're not looking very dynamic in terms of producing any major flares anytime soon. Current solar flare threat, or the X-ray chart, just shows very, very, very minimal C flare activity. Looks like over the last couple hours, but that's about it. No M flares, no X flares on the schedule for now. All right, guys, have a good night. Again, stay safe out there. And the folks down in Southern California, I know got quite a few viewers down there. So if you catch any cool video of flooding or just some pictures in general, and you want to share them with the folks here on the Earthmaster channel, feel free to send me an email, earthmastermail@gmail.com. And, of course, give me your name. I'll give credit to you. Give me your location and whatnot, where you got those pictures at. With this tropical storm, soon-to-be tropical depression K, moving towards the Southern California coast. Wow. Lucky guys. I would love to, well, I've been in a couple hurricanes, not direct hits, I was out there covering, when was that, 2020? Down in the Louisiana area and also the Texas area outside of Galveston. Had those two hurricanes come in. I can't remember their names, but that was kind of fun. Dangerous, yes, but fun. But hey, YOLO, right? You only live once, and you got to do what you got to do in order to survive and have fun on this earth, right? You're not living. You're definitely not living unless you're out there enjoying it, enjoying life, so to speak. All right, guys, have a good night. Stay safe. We will chat you guys another time. Peace out, everyone.